Hi friends, how are you today? I just wanted to leave this brief video. I went to my daughter's school today to find out why her grades are slipping. And her first semester, her grades were on top, and she's a gifted student. She was in a gifted program prior to entering the school that she's in now. And I just wanted to find out what's really going on. And she could have been there with me. She was able to be there with me. I guess the teachers that I spoke to, they expected her to be there with me, but I just kind of wanted to go in to see them on my own, and it's kind of a good thing that she wasn't there. Where to start? I wish that parenting came with with some kind of a manual, because sometimes some things are so hard to figure out. And I was a kid before. We all were kids before, needless to say, but times have changed so much. And sometimes when my children, when my oldest child is failing, and I'm speaking about my oldest child specifically right now, or when something is going on in her life is unfavorable to me, I kind of look at it like in some way it's my fault. So I spoke to a group of her teachers, and each of them had something to say, and some of it was slightly disturbing to me. Maybe the what they said would not have been disturbing or to others, or other people may not look at it the same way, but it's like a huge blow to me, a huge blow to my self-confidence as a parent. Sometimes I feel like I am supposed to be the one to raise these perfect children, and all the activities that I put them in, all the extracurricular activities that I put them in, my life, the way that my life has gone, the way that I'm living my life, and the way that I've overcome certain obstacles, I feel like that I've already laid that groundwork for them, so that for my children, so that they can see what mistakes not to make. Some people say that people have to make their own mistakes, but I know that that's not true for everyone. So in some strange way, I kind of hope that my children won't go through the things that I've gone through, and or worse, that that they just don't do some of the crap that they do. And it's like, don't you know, didn't you learn from my mistakes? Or isn't this thing similar enough to what I was going through, what I told you that I've gone through, or what you've seen me go through, for you not to turn around and have this happen to you? So wow, I'm trying to be a different person and take a different approach. And we may have to go to counseling together, family counseling, just to improve our communication, the way that we communicate. Because one thing that I definitely don't want to happen is for my children to feel like I shun them, like I don't love them, that their ways are so hideously disgusting to me, that they're disapproval to me. I don't want them to feel that at all, because that's definitely not true. But I can't help but to be hurt, in certain ways. And no, it's not the end of the world, but sometimes it's hard to give up that control, to relinquish that control. And maybe that's what this is all about for me. Maybe it's just me wanting to be like super mom, the best parent ever. This is tea time with T, so there are times that I might say something that is therapeutic for me, that may seem insensitive to others, like me telling things about myself or my past that may or may not include other people in my family. People have always told me For the most part of my life, I've always heard, you should write a book. Oh my gosh, I don't understand why you haven't written this book yet. And, for me, in writing that book, I always kind of thought about how other people would feel if I said things that were really about myself, but that included them. And but I guess it's time for me to spill the tea, and or give my testimony, however it is that you want to look at it. But one thing that I shared with the teachers today, with my daughter's teachers, is that I went through the foster care system as a kid and actually aged out. And for some of the kids that I am around, other than my own, on a regular basis, the same is true for them. They're in the system. And that can be devastating. That's a huge blow to any kid. And the fact that it still comes up for me, that I even mention it at times as an adult, it says that in retrospect, it's still a blow for me. It's still a blow as I look at it today, as I think about it. I've come to terms with it, and I know that I was probably better off in having done so, even though I had some less than favorable hold on, I have to move my car up a little bit, because I think I'm kind of blocking someone who's trying to get out. As I'm waiting, I was blocking someone else. So yeah, just turn off my gas. In looking at it, thinking about the fact that I went through it, it still hurts sometimes. So anyway, I was saying to my kids, my daughter's teacher, or teachers, saying that I have a very bad connection, but I hope I can finish this up. I'm going to finish it in a few seconds. I just don't want those kind of things to happen to my children. I always try to be that perfect parent, and I don't want my children to experience the things that I've experienced, and especially, in that aspect, the foster care thing. So, I try to keep my head up, and I try to do what it is that I need to do to keep them. And I do have to pat myself on the back, like the teachers were telling me, because my children are not in the system. And by the age of, I want to say 10, I was, and so and they're not. So yeah, I have to look at that and see that as a good thing, and they're well taken care of, my kids. But I still can't help it to just want my kids to be perfect. So parenting doesn't come with a manual, and it's a learning process. And I've been a parent for a pretty long time now, but I see that it's always going to be a learning process. And I guess I'm always going to have to tweak what it is that I'm used to, or the way that to change. I'm going to have to change the way that I communicate with my children. If something is not working, I have to learn how not to be so rigid. And all I want is the best for my children. All I want for my children is for them to have the world, to grab the world by the balls and just hone it. Yeah, so parenting doesn't come with a manual, but gotta do what I gotta do. Peace.